Hey everybody, Rick Alexander, your host for today's episode. I'll be speaking with Jenny Blake, one of my co-hosts. We're going to talk about how to prep for your very first bikini, figure, or bodybuilding competition. One of the really cool things about Lionheart Radio is that we get to feature people from all walks of life in the active lifestyle, and that includes powerlifters, strongman athletes, crossfitters, ultra-endurance athletes, and of course bodybuilders and bikini competitors. And one of the requests that we get is people want to know how they can get involved in these things. And maybe you have an inclination that you want to try something new. And when you hear from some of our guests who are out there crushing it, that inclination grows until you really want to try putting one of your feet in the pool. And so over the course of the next few months, what we're going to try to do is bring you a lot of advice on how to get involved in the various things that we cover. And today is going to be no different. I will say at the end of the episode, we forgot to do the Lionheart kicker, which is the question based on advice. And so just stay tuned when you hear the music. We went back and we edited the Lionheart kicker back in. And it's definitely worth sticking around for. So without further ado, you guys enjoy the show. All right, you're listening to Lionheart Radio, and I'm your host, Rick Alexander, founder of Blue Aviv in San Diego, California. I say that way too much. I'm here with Jenny Blake today. We're going to talk a little bit about how to prep for a figure competition, a bikini competition, bodybuilding, some kind of competition where you're judged subjectively on what you look like.
I guess you could say it like that, but I'm super excited. I have so much information, and it's just going to be a big data dump of everything that I've learned through the two competitions that I've done. And I'll start with even, where to start, where to even begin to do this, and take you through the whole prep and the competition, and then what you need to do after the competition too, which is pretty important. Okay, cool.
So for people that are listening to this, why should they listen to you about this? So you mentioned you did two competitions. Like what is your background that, kind of qualifies you uniquely to talk about prepping in general?
Right. So my first competition was a little over a year and a half ago, and I always saw it from afar. Didn't think it was something I never would do. And my background was in cheerleading. I went to CrossFit for a little while, and so I had the background of working out. But this was something that maybe it's too different. I don't know what it's about. I don't know anything about it. Mm-hmm. And so I did competition last year. I did competition this year. And so I'm still new enough to know the big things that people need to know and how to tackle this. But still better enough that I've been through it twice, which is a big process. And you'll see why people only do one or two competitions a year.
Yeah.
Still, been through it enough that I feel like I can provide pretty solid advice.
Okay. And so you were doing CrossFit, though. What is it that drew you to want to do this in the first place?
Yeah, so I'd been doing CrossFit for 3 or so years, and I had done a few competitions, and it was super fun, but it's coming to the point where I'm like, okay, I can either dive in more to CrossFit and see how far I can take myself there, or try something new, which a few people at our gym were doing these competitions. And I wanted to, I kind of put it on my bucket list.
The bodybuilding stuff.
Right. The bodybuilding competitions to do before I'm 30 and, see what I can get my body in the best shape that it'll ever be in, probably.
The best shape it'll ever look like it's in.
Right. Yeah. As far as aesthetics.
Right.
And so I said, why not? Signed up.
Go for it.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I always thought that would be cool. I mean, I've never delved into that. I've always been performance-based. But I do think it would be cool to just have those pictures, like, for the rest of your life. Like, you did look like that. You did put in that work. And that's one of the cool things that people that are listening to this probably could get drawn to bodybuilding for that reason specifically.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you learn so much, not only about yourself, about your determination, your dedication, but so much about nutrition, about training. And maybe you do one and you never want to do it again.
Yeah.
But I guarantee then if you go back to doing CrossFit or whatever it is, you're going to have some nuggets that will help you still. Maybe you still want to look the part.
Sure.
Or maybe you find that hypertrophy or tempo training actually helps you get stronger in CrossFit. So you're going to learn no matter what.
Okay. All right, cool. So I think a lot of people are familiar with like some of the training stuff like this, the body part splits and the way that you train for bodybuilding, because I think that's how almost everybody gets into working out in the first place. You like go to Muscle Magazine, whatever, and you see the bodybuilding splits, and that's kind of how you get into it. But for somebody that's listening, what is the first step like to wanting to get ready for? Obviously, you need to sign up for a competition. Like
Actually, you don't even do that first.
Okay, so what's first
yeah,
step?
really, you want to wait until about 2 weeks out to sign up for a competition. But first step is, you need to find a coach, someone who is familiar with this industry and someone who has done this before. Because where this is different from maybe even a marathon or even like a half marathon or a CrossFit competition, which I've done a half marathon before and a CrossFit competition before. You can just sign up and then maybe train a little extra more and maybe eat a little better, but you can just go for it and just do it.
Right.
Where this, you can't.
It'll be noticeable.
You can't. Yeah, you can't. You're going to be on stage in a little material and everyone next to you is putting in the full-fledged work. You just can't do that. It's something that takes way more prep than that. So you need to find somebody who's done this before.
Okay.
It's a totally different world, and you need to find somebody who's in that world that can help you go through all of the things that you're going to be going through.
Okay.
So that's definitely first step. Second step is determining which they can help you with, what category.
Yeah.
fits
How
best for you.
do you do that? That's what I was wondering about. Like.
Yeah. So for me, it was what I kind of wanted
Okay.
to look like, but also where I was. So last year, my first competition, I did a figure competition because I had a solid base from doing CrossFit.
Yep.
But I knew I wanted to gain more muscle. And so figure worked best for me. Going in this next round, because the way the classes are kind of changing and bikini's getting a little more muscle definition, my coach actually convinced me to do both figure and bikini to see what would kind of work best for me.
Okay. And so that's gonna decide how much prep time you need too, right? Because if you were to choose bodybuilding, it would have taken you a very long time to put on the mass necessary to do that, right? Or
right, and just to give the listeners an idea of what each category looks like.
Yeah, what are they?
So, of course, there's female and male.
Right.
And then for female, I guess you would say, not leanest, but the less muscular one is bikini. So it starts off with bikini. And then if you add a little more muscle definition, that's figure. Add more muscle definition, that's physique. And then you have the bodybuilding girls, which is like the OG, like huge muscles, gangster looking.
That's bodybuilding.
That's bodybuilding, right? And then male has similar classes like that. So I was in the bikini and figure competition.
Okay, so there's bikini, figure, physique, and bodybuilding. Is that what you said?
Yep.
And is men the same way? Obviously no bikini, but...
No bikini. Men is... Bodybuilding is the big, huge, strong dudes.
Yeah.
Then it goes into classic physique, which is kind of in between.
What is the board shorts?
The board shorts is the physique.
Okay.
Yeah, in classic physique, they still have the little panty-looking things.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't like the board shorts. I just feel like that gives you a reason not to train legs.
Yeah, totally agree, but I guess you gotta train your calves,
Yeah.
so...
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So then you pick kind of based on... and you kind of base on where you're at and what your goals are.
Right.
But also, too, let's talk a little bit about genetic, maybe ceilings. Because just listening to people talk about the bodybuilding world, it sounds like, there's a very unique build that you have to have in order to be good at that. So you need to have big muscle bellies and small joints, for example, like small waistline, small hips, but still like a bigger back, bigger torso. So are there rules like that kind of following all the different categories, or what's been your experience there?
I would say if you're just starting off and just getting into one of these categories, then you don't need to worry about that. But when you get into a level of pro level and probably like Olympia level,
Yep.
Yeah, that's going to matter. You know,
Okay.
some people, just like in anything, you can train the exact same, you're going to get different results, or maybe you're not going to get the same shape because of the way you're naturally shaped.
Okay.
But I think once you get to that level, you're so tuned in with your body and your coach knows. So maybe you got huge lats. Okay, I'm not going to spend as much time on lats. I'm going to spend more time on my legs because that's what I need. So
Okay.
yeah, I think when you get to a certain level, that's important. But especially if you're just starting off and just wanting to get a show under your belt, not something that you probably need to concern yourself with yet.
Okay. Perfect. All right. So step 2 is you pick a category.
Yep. And again, your coach will be able to tell you all of this. That's why I highly recommend getting someone who knows all of this stuff. So then they'll be able to tell you your time frame, right? How much time you need to prep for this competition.
And coaches will know by looking where you're at, kind of like.
Yes,
Okay, you're
they should be able to help you.
Okay.
For sure. And there's coaches, there's whole companies that this is all they specialize in, right? Online and in different locations.
For a standard athletic person, is there a I guess maybe a rule of thumb, or how much time do you think someone that does CrossFit, someone that is already athletic and has a decent build?
So I would say if you're new to this, 3 to 6 months.
Okay.
Is
standard.
A good standard.
Okay.
I would say the standard prep that most people do is 12 weeks or about 3 months. And that's what I did for my first show because I had that CrossFit build already. And then veterans, I would say a little closer to 8-week prep, not because they can prep faster, but because they're more in tune, so they're more focused on it and stay in that shape all year round. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily that specific shape all year round, but stay closer to stage.
Yeah.
Stage appearance all year round, so that way the 8 weeks they can just dial it in and get that last body fat percentage off.
Okay. How long was your first prep?
My first prep was 12 weeks, and then this next prep, I train every day anyway, but the training's different, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But I did the 8-week nutrition prep because that's definitely the hardest and the strictest part, and we'll get into that too.
Okay, perfect.
Yep, and I had done one before, so I kind of knew what to expect. Mm-hmm. So it made it easier to do going into it with the 8-week prep.
Okay.
Yep, so people are probably wondering, what does on prep mean? Why do you keep saying prep?
Yep.
Prep stands for preparation for the show.
Yep.
Simple as that. But you'll hear girls, guys be like, oh, I'm on prep. Ooh, prep.
Yeah, right.
Because it is, I went over this before, it takes such dedication. It takes, you're in it, right? You're in it at that point. So there's 3 parts to prep. And this is in going from most important to least important. This is just my opinion. Other people probably might have other opinions, but the first is definitely your nutrition and your cardio.
Okay.
You can't go into a show without those 2.
Okay.
The next is posing.
Okay.
Which might
is a whole art in itself. Right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Might surprise some people, but posing for sure. And then the third is weight training. You got to have some type of program.
And you find that to be the least important.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yep. That's crazy.
Yeah, right. You never would have thought that. But, I mean, you definitely need to do it, no doubt about it. Yep. And it needs to, all of these things got to be like number one priority in your life. But as far as in order of importance, that's how I view them.
Okay.
And we'll get into each of these. So, again, with your nutrition, you got to have a coach. It's not just I'm going to eat better this week. Like, it's way more into it that. Some coaches follow macro plans, or some coaches say, okay, you're going to have steak at this time, you're going to have asparagus here, or, people do it differently. What I did kind of my first go round was if it fits your macros approach, and that's what my coach had me on.
Yep.
Which worked out wonders for me.
Okay.
Yeah, it worked out great. But going into it the second round, my body probably was a little more, it knew what it was doing.
It's adapted, right, already?
Yep. So I had to, tighten it up a little more, definitely way more quality and things like that. So I had to, go ahead.
That's interesting because, that could be applied to anything. When you start Olympic weightlifting, at first, or CrossFit, you make huge gains for the first 3 to 6 months, right? But then as you get fitter, it becomes very necessary to dial your approach in, to work much more on technique, because all those little things. So it's interesting to hear that even in the bodybuilding world, when it comes to nutrition, as you get closer and closer and get more advanced in what you're doing, well, then you have to really start dialing in everything.
Oh, yeah. And as you get more lean and you lose more weight, it gets harder because you're just closer.
Yep.
So it's taking, smaller increments that you may not notice as much. But, I was measuring all my food. So I had, a scale. Okay. I had measuring cups at work where I'm, scooping out my rice.
Goddamn.
And so, it's intense, and you got to be on it 24/7. It's not like, forgot to meal prep this week. You just can't. Yeah. It's part of it. Don't get me wrong.
Do you just write off enjoying food for that time, essentially?
No, not at all, because, at least my plan was more of macro based with 80-90%, quality. Mm-hmm. So I have my version of tacos, right? I'm still having tacos. It might be lean ground turkey with just a little bit of cheese on the top, with whole grain tortilla, with peppers, so it's definitely way better than just the food cart they have downstairs, but still tastes good to me. It's not like I'm just on plain chicken and broccoli for every meal.
Gotcha.
right? So I was eating like rice cakes and peanut butters are pretty standard. Let's see. I mean, yeah, chicken, steak, Brussels sprouts, things like that. So yeah, more whole-based food, but it's not like it wasn't enjoyable.
Okay.
I guess I like food though, so I like it all.
Right.
I mean, every now and then, if I'm like, ooh, I need something, Arctic Zero ice cream, which is super
was that
low
kind of your
in
go-to
sugar.
to like solve that sugar fix if you needed it? Okay.
Or sugar-free Jell-O with some whipped cream.
Yeah.
I mean, whipped cream's pretty much fluff, so
That's always been mine too.
yeah. So that's been that was super helpful.
Okay.
Yep. And as far as supplements, things like that, I mean, protein shakes, creatine. I actually used the Lionheart Refuel. Not even a plug. I actually used it.
Okay.
And then I added some leucine in just to help build the muscle. And then I also did BCAAs. Added some of those in there too.
Okay. In addition to the refuel.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And then let's see. I mean, all of this changes. Like all that's pretty standard up into a week or two out. I would say probably 2 weeks out is when you stop with all of the supplements. 1 week out, you're adding in asparagus 4 times a day to help flush the water in and out of your body. And the whole prep, for me, everyone's going to have different targets based on how much they weigh and things like that. But for my prep, I had a gallon of water every day. So not only am I measuring food out, every day. I'm measuring out my water intake. I'm going to the bathroom like every 5 minutes.
Yeah, right.
But especially during that last week, you've got to have everything so dialed in that you're, not only measuring things, you're putting more whole foods in, you're taking out the supplements, you're taking out all sugar and fake sugar and added sugar. So even you'd be surprised how much of that is in even, more quality, I put in quotations, quality food.
Right. I wouldn't be surprised, but people would.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Because I've cut sugar out and it's miserable.
Oh yeah. But, I mean, even the fake sugar is in all of these protein bars and things like that. But that helps so much in inflammation. So the whole last week you really want to
get rid of all that.
Give it all that extra you can.
Damn.
So the last week too, you're adding a ton of asparagus in, so it flushes out. But you're also, I hate to say that you're manipulating your water intake, but you kind of are. So the last week you go into it, and let's say Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, let's say your show's on Saturday.
Yep.
I'm doing a gallon and a half every day.
Jesus.
So then Wednesday, I cut down to a gallon. Thursday, I cut down to a half a gallon. Friday, I'm at a fourth a gallon, which to a normal person, that might be normal for them, but because I'm so used to having that much more water, I can feel it. I'm like, a little thirsty. And then actual show day, you're just sipping. So even though you are getting a good amount of water in, throughout it, I wouldn't say you're just cutting out water completely the whole time. You're kind of manipulating your body to kind of trick it into a little bit of dehydration.
Okay. And something you mentioned there too is the supplements. So obviously if anybody follows the macro-based approach, they understand this, but you do have to make sure that the supplements fit your macros as well, right?
Oh yeah.
Because like protein, all stuff, all that. I mean, I don't know what you use, like IsoPure or whatever, to make sure it had less carbs or whatever, but you have to be cognizant of that when you try to fit it into your
for sure. And the reason why I had protein was because I had such a high protein goal that I needed to hit.
Okay.
I mean, probably most people feel that way, but you actually burn more calories from just eating whole, real protein, just from your body digesting it, than having a protein shake.
Really? Yeah.
So I mean, if this was a perfect, science and this is all I did, I would probably stick to the whole foods. But because of, you got to fit into your lifestyle and make it work, protein is a good way.
Protein shake.
Yeah, for sure.
We didn't talk about a step for steroids, but steroids are a huge fucking part of this. Is it not? It's a huge part of this sport.
So, again, I'm focused on, like, if you're just trying to get into the sport, and even for me, if doing 2 shows, or even people, the next level might be going to nationals and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the top pro levels do it. The people I surround myself around for this, again, it's bikini and figure, we're not doing anything like that.
Okay.
But some people take it way more serious or feel like they need to do that. I know it's a part of it, but
the only reason I'm asking is if you do utilize, well, not even just steroids, right? If you just use like a testosterone replacement therapy or something like that, that's gonna that's gonna factor into the way that you bloat and different things like that. Like you're gonna carry more water weight inherently because of testosterone or whatever it is you're doing. And so the only reason I'm asking is, do you think that the approach that you're giving right now would also be comparable to the approach that somebody would take if they were using any kind of ergogenic aid? Or would you not even know because you don't deal with it?
I would say I wouldn't know for sure, but I would say what I've done and what I am sharing about people getting into the first time.
Yeah.
Probably times the intensity by 10 for the people at the pro level. I mean, thinking about last year and this year is more quality based, but I was, if it fits your macro, I'm still measuring things. Yeah. People at that level know if chicken makes them bloat compared to, ground turkey. Like they know the difference, how their body reacts to the smallest change in vegetables, or they had a half tablespoon more salt. So, I mean, I always say there's levels to this shit when it comes to nutrition. So, like, let's say there's 5 levels. 5 is like, you don't know shit, you eat whatever, you're inconsistent. 4 is being like, okay, I got some structure in my life. I eat 5 times a day and have, I get my protein and my carbs in.
Yep.
3 being, which I say this is kind of where I am in the off season. 3 being, okay, I know what the amount of protein, carbs, and fat I should intake each day.
Yep.
It's going to be mixed in with some drinking and, lifestyle and maybe not as quality. And then level 2 is I'm measuring out everything. I'm trying to get as much quality in as I can. I'm not drinking. And I'd say that's where I was on my prep.
Yep.
And then level 1, which I would say where the pros are, is they're so dialed in to not only timing, but the smallest changes that they know their body so well that and they're so dialed in but again, that's really hard to maintain, but that's why they're at the level they are.
Sure. Okay, cool.
Yep. So you're at a deficit, right? Yep. If you need to lose weight, which most people do, you're at a deficit from the calories that you're intaking, but the other part that's helping you burn more calories is the added cardio. So you got to wear a heart rate monitor first and foremost. That's like a staple because you need to know how many calories you're burning, not only in your workout, which we'll get into, but in your cardio. Okay. So you'll see everybody on the Stairmaster to do cardio. It's just one of the most efficient ways to do it.
/ miserable.
Oh yeah.
I hate that fucking thing.
And the worst part is the leaner you get and the better in shape your cardiovascular gets from doing it, the harder it is to burn calories.
Right, so you have to like up the ante.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I started off, my coach had me burning 100 extra calories after my workout. No problem. I was already, not in that type of shape, had pounds to lose, so I could do it in 10 minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
Then about halfway through, you up the ante. Okay, burn 200 calories. I was in way better shape. Took me 30 to 40 minutes. And that's 5 days a week. So that's a lot.
Yeah, right.
I'm thinking of all the podcasts I listened to.
Yeah,
all
right.
the things I did when I was.
And so let's talk about that. So the cardio. Did you mess around at all with fasted cardio?
I actually did not.
Can you just leave that cover off?
Yeah, sorry.
So I don't have to edit everyone out.
Squeak.
Sorry. So did you mess around with fasted cardio?
I actually did not because I worked out in the morning. It was kind of hard to set that up. In my first prep, I was too new to do anything like that. In my second prep, I'm working, more than full time on a corporate job and building a business. I'm fitting this in, so it would just be too overwhelming to do that. But I definitely think that's something that could definitely be played around with, and I might do that in the future. Okay. Yep. So
you just put cardio in where you could get it in?
Well, really, it was recommended to do it right after my workout because that would burn the most because my heart rate was so high that I could get the most out of it.
Prolong that caloric burning.
Right.
Okay. Exactly. And then what about HIIT versus steady state?
So I did HIIT.
You did?
Yes.
So you did intervals?
Yes.
Okay.
Because... So I could continue to get that burn long after and to make it the most efficient.
It just does burn more calories.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. So...
What did your intervals look like? Sorry.
Oh, no.
Because I know people, it's like, okay, if you just go do cardio, they'll like they'll get on the elliptical for 30 minutes. You know what I mean? And obviously we recommend getting a coach. Even you are a coach and you still get a coach in order to do this. So that's something. But just to just to flush out the cardio piece for people. And if you're listening to this and you might not even want to step on stage, you still want to burn max calories probably and look the best you can. So, yeah, what did your intervals look like?
So the way it was prescribed to me was level 6 on the Stairmaster for 10 calories. Level 14 on the Stairmaster for 12 calories. Level 12 on the Stairmaster. And so that's what it looked like. So I started off at level 6, went to 14, dropped to 12, 10, and then back up.
It's like undulated intensity, really.
Right.
Not start, stop.
Exactly.
Okay.
But the challenging part with that is if you're trying to look at your watch to see your calories and so I just kind of made it 1 minute each one, which made it a lot easier and simpler for me to do.
Yeah.
And as I felt myself getting easier, I upped the ante. Okay, now I'm going to start at 8. Okay. And instead of 14, I'm going to 16. And I just got better and better at it. I remember last year, because I have never been good at endurance or having good, cardiovascular or anything like that. But I've realized that it's because I never trained for it correctly. Okay. So I was like, I'll just never be good at this. Nope, this made me good at it. Okay. Because I remember dropping into a CrossFit when I was, I would say like the peak of my training. Yeah. And it was like a 25-minute workout. And I crushed it. Mm-hmm. And I would never have crushed that before. And I remember the coach who knew me was like, what the hell? Where did that come from? And I was like, oh, well, I do this every day. So I just keep going and I'm good. Right. So I was super surprised by that. So, that's one of those things that I can take back to CrossFit now. When I do CrossFit, if I want to train for a competition, 100%. Okay, I know I can get on that Stairmaster and get where I need to be. Yeah. And I talk about that all the time, but having that baseline level of aerobic conditioning will allow you, even if you're a weightlifter, and it's like my plea to people, even if you're a weightlifter, like having that baseline aerobic conditioning will allow you to get more out of your sets and reps deeper into your workout. Mm-hmm. You'll be able to carry more intensity through a longer duration of a workout. Yes, couldn't agree with that more. And so how long were your workouts? So my workouts were about an hour. I had a calorie goal for my workouts too. Okay. And to get it in within an hour, ideally 45 minutes. So I would do my different sets, and then in between I would be doing like plyos or like what are they called, skiers or squat jumps, just to keep my heart rate up in between my lifts. Okay, cool. Yeah, because you're at a deficit, and you got to create that deficit between food and what you're burning throughout the day. And I was so surprised at how much I lost because of how lean you have to get. I started my first show at 122. And I was fairly lean. I figured, I could probably, get down 5 pounds. We'll see. Mm-hmm. And I dropped 12 pounds between then and stage weight. And I was like, dang, this is, people can drop, right? Yeah. So, okay. So yeah, you got to create that deficit. And that's just, that's a good thing for people, no matter what your goals are. Like, you hear a lot of people that are like, I'm a hard gainer. I just can't gain weight. It's like, no, you can gain weight. You literally are just not trying hard enough, because you can do it. Just like you said, you can cut weight. You have weight to cut. It might not be easy. It might not even be healthy, but you can fucking do it. So, like, that's just an excuse you got to take off the table. Oh, for sure. And to, that's why you got to, like, time your prep, because I didn't want to crash diet 2 weeks out. Right. And I wanted to maintain muscle, and I wanted to do it in a healthy way. Sure. So that's why you gotta really plan for these things. And how healthy did you feel through the whole process? Oh, fine. Really? And yeah, for sure. And I know at different levels and different people, it's gonna feel different from them. I had, my CrossFit coach, he did one, and he had a bad coach. Yeah. And he had it on like half the calories that I was on. Oh God. Right. And so in training, walking to the gym every day, like all of this crazy stuff. Yeah. But for me, I had a good coach. And yeah, there were some times where I could feel my body just burning and like, I'm a little hungry. Normally I would sit down and just eat because I want to, or like, no, I can't do that. But nothing where I was definitely not starving myself in any means. The lowest I was at was 1,600 calories. Okay. Which, that's a lot of food. Right. So. Yeah. But the next biggest thing that people don't realize is the posing, which I know we kind of brought up. Yep. It is so frustrating. My first posing class, I'm like, how do you squeeze this muscle but turn this way and activate, this lat? Are you familiar with the lat spread? I feel like it's a big thing for guys to do.
The pose?
Just in general, spreading your lats.
Oh, no. I probably couldn't do it effectively.
So, yeah. All right. Yeah, you know a little bit.
Okay.
It's totally different than you'd ever think, and it takes so much more energy than you ever think. I mean, an hour of posing where you're squeezing every muscle and trying to focus and all of that, like I'm sweating after it.
So what's interesting is when you are an athlete, you learn, well, hopefully you have a good coach, and you learn how to engage different muscles through different movements. So when you're on the pull-up bar, like one of the first things I was taught is when you don't just hang from a pull-up bar like a just piece of shit. You engage your lats, right, and you get big, and it's interesting to think like how that could maybe be crossed over to and applied to this, right?
Oh yeah, just body awareness in general.
Body awareness, exactly.
For sure, and activating certain muscles. I mean, activating my lats, just like in the position for a snatch or something like that. Oh, that's how I activate it, to hold the bar.
Right.
Like, yeah, definitely made some connections there.
Okay. So yeah, you probably would have a little bit of advantage coming from a more athletic background.
Right,
of
that,
course you would, but.
And then also coming from a cheer and dance background, because you have to memorize a routine that you're doing on stage in front of tons of people with light shining on you in little clear high heels.
So that probably did help for this.
Oh, for sure, because that's when a lot of these girls are coming from, maybe they're soccer players or something like that, and getting them to turn it on the stage. I mean, not only do you have to move your body in these weird ways, in these little clear heels, but your face has to sell it too. Because if you think about it, if you're the judge and you're looking up there,
you look like you're taking a dump.
Yes.
While you're squeezing everything.
Okay, they could have the best body in the world. Like, I just can't even look at them because this is too much. So you gotta sell it too.
Right.
Which that's why I say posing is so important, which I would have never guessed. And I mean, we all know that these Instagram girls where you didn't just take that photo, you know, it's like you got to know how to position your body so that you look good. I mean, it's just the way it is, and the same can be applied to when you're on stage.
Yeah, Instagram models are people too. I get it.
Yeah.
All right, so when it comes to choreographing a routine, do you make that up?
No, get a coach.
Okay, but you have the ability to make it up. So between you and your coach, you're making something up. It's not something standardized that everybody does.
Oh yeah, correct. I mean, there's standard things like you want to show like front or back, but your coach will know like, okay, we want to show what you've got working. You know what you've got going on.
Right.
That's good that the judges would like. So yeah, I mean, you got to hit the right angles for and stuff like that.
Okay, and what about music? Are you picking your own music?
No, they play music. I don't even know what they were playing. It's like pop, hip-hop, exciting music on there, yeah. But it's just on, like, not repeat, but it's just, like, for the whole auditorium so people don't fall asleep.
So is that weird, though? Because you're trying to choreograph a routine not to music? So, like, if beats are getting hit at different times and you're moving at different times, is that not weird?
No, it's a little different, whereas, like, dance or cheer, you're, like, on a count like 5, 6, 7, 8. It's not necessarily like that when I say routine. It's just like you're gonna, step up here. You're gonna swing your arms like this. You're gonna arch your back. You're gonna pull your lats out, and you're gonna look even down to the eyes. Like my coach had me. I want you to do this with your eyes and like kind of look at them and look up. And I'm like, okay, this is like down to the details.
Yeah, okay.
Like it's And then you come out after. So you do your little routine, and it's like 30 seconds long. And then you come out in what they call comparison poses. And this is for all classes. You stand next to, 4 or 5 people.
Yep.
And this is standard. So you hit your front pose so they can compare everybody the same way. And then you turn to the side and the back so they can compare everybody.
Okay. Cool.
So that is standard.
Okay.
Yep. And then the way they do it is they have a morning show and a night show. So in the morning show, they'll call you out, you do a routine, then you do comparisons, and they say, okay, which is generally the top 5, you come out, and then they compare you, and then you turn around, and then you go off stage. So I'm like, wait, I did all this work for only like 2 minutes on stage? Like, I'm going to get back out there, and I'm like, you look at me.
Yeah, right.
Because, the judges are doing this all day long. Like, sometimes you can see a judge, like, is like looking over, behind them. And I'm like, no. Like, eyes up here. I put too much work in for this.
Oh, damn. Yeah,
I know. So then you come back from the night show and you do that again. And there's then when they like award you whatever place you get. But you kind of have an idea from the morning show.
Okay. And what is it like in between those? Because are you eating or?
Yeah, on game day, I call it. You're eating normal. The only difference is the water.
You're not drinking water?
Yeah, we'll eat sips.
Wait, but what do you mean
needed.
eating normal?
Eating normal as in, like, the week of prep. So, like, I talked about...
what you would have eaten the day before. Okay.
Right, exactly.
So you're not
like
getting
that.
Denny's. Got it.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
No Denny's yet. But that's why I say, posing is so important. And that gets into weight training. So, it's still important, but I wouldn't consider it as important as... the nutrition, the cardio, and the posing.
Because all the training in the world, it's pretty commonly known now, you can't out-train a bad diet.
Exactly.
Right? And okay. Cool. And if you walk up there and you're doing the robot and you look dumb, and people are like, what the fuck is this guy?
Yeah, I can't even. They might laugh.
So that makes sense. Those two are more important.
Right.
Okay.
Yep. And so for the training, I would say you got to have some type of plan. Like for me, I knew I needed to work shoulders, legs, and glutes just because of the class I was in and the body I was going in with. Other people might be different. Like we talked about, I had to wear a heart rate monitor because I had to have a certain calorie goal during my workout. And also, because I wasn't getting there, I had to include plyo stuff in between, like squat jumps in between lifting and stuff like that.
Okay.
Same thing. The more in shape I got, the harder it was to get to that calorie goal and still remain within the 45 minutes, hour. So it's a mind fuck.
Yeah, for sure.
So you're doing that for an hour of a day. You're doing the cardio for, let's call it 30 minutes a day. You have posing practice once a week, but you need to practice every day. You need to have those heels on every day and get used to wearing those on stage.
Did you wear them around the house?
Oh, yeah. I'd be cooking dinner.
Yeah.
My roommates would come home and be like, does Drake live here? What's going on?
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, so, it's a pretty big commitment to stay consistent with all of that and make sure you fit all of that in every day.
Interesting. Okay. And guys will go barefoot, right?
Guys go barefoot, yeah. Okay. They don't have to wear the heels.
Okay, perfect. Unless they want to. 2017. Right.
There's something for everybody.
So let's talk a little bit about the training then. Oh, one quick thing about the nutrition. Did you use diuretics?
No, I did not.
Okay.
People do, I would say even at the amateur level, people do. But I didn't want to mess with that. Like, I felt like I could get to where I wanted to be without having to do that.
Yeah, and that's an interesting thing. That's one of the arguments for why physique and bodybuilding might not be super healthy, because those diuretics really play a toll on your organs and stuff like that. So
yeah, you can take it to, like we talked about, the extreme of steroids and all of that.
Yeah.
It just depends.
But diuretics aren't steroids. Like, that's an over-the-counter thing.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, you can do that, or you can do other things, or take it, to the extreme. It's kind of how you want to go into it.
Okay. And then, so moving on into the training, you're training an hour a day. 5 days a week? Or?
5 days a week.
Okay. And cardio 5?
Yep.
Okay. And body splits, like what's pretty standard? Is it the 2 body parts a day, or? So
for me, everyone's going to be different, but for me, I did booty 3 days a week.
Just butt?
Just butt.
Okay. Just
butt. I threw in some legs in there.
Are we talking squat? Are we talking deadlift? What are we talking for butt?
We're talking hip thrust.
Yeah. Symptom.
A lot of hip thrust.
Yeah.
A lot of straight leg deadlifts.
Okay.
A lot of weird stuff that you've never even seen before.
Okay.
But the place I went to, Body University, she's like Queen Booty.
Okay.
And she makes up stuff. And at one point, I'm like up against the wall. I have a sliding thing on my heel, and I'm pushing it against a glass wall, and it's burning so bad, and I look so ridiculous that I'm so glad I'm not at 24 Fitness right now doing this.
God damn. Okay, so you did B-hole 3 days a week. What else?
With some legs in there.
Okay.
And then shoulders 2 days a week. With some arms and back in there too.
Okay.
But if you think about it, at least for the 2 classes that I was in, you've got to have the shoulders just create so much of that like shape for your body. Like if you think goes out, and then you small waist, and then come in with the booty and the legs. Like that's just the appealing look that you're going for.
You want that hourglass look.
Right. Okay. Exactly.
Okay.
And surprisingly, like, I would never train shoulders before. Like, being a female, I'd be like, oh my god,
Right.
I don't want to show big shoulders. Now I'm like, give me the biggest shoulders. Because, I mean, they create that look, and they also make your arms look smaller. Like, things that you would never even think of.
Yeah.
And they have, you know, they create the lines and the definitions on your arms, so.
Well, and you're actually a good example of this, and maybe it's been disproved a little bit, and people are starting to wake up to the fact that, like, a lot of girls, you know, they have that feeling of, like, I don't want to train body parts because I don't want to get big. And it's like, think about you train shoulders twice a week for your entire prep, you know, and you don't, walking around the street, you don't look like somebody that's, like, overly jacked or anything like that. So
yeah, that's the hardest thing trying to explain to people because like, you're literally creating the shape of your body. Like, maybe some girls don't need shoulders, right? But you're creating the shape of your body by building muscles here, you know, trying to get smaller here. You're not necessarily just, oh, I'm building all my muscles really big. Right? So that's another way to look at it.
Yeah, for sure. What is your Instagram so people can go look at you?
It is Jenny from De Blake, and so that's JENNY FRMDABLAKE.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
So girls can know what we're talking about. I think it'll make sense if they look at you.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right, so we're talking booty, shoulders, and you did like arms once a week?
Yeah,
Okay.
doing some arms and backs. But again, I have a base from CrossFit. Like, I had pretty solid abs. Back is just pretty solid, just the way I was built in because of CrossFit. And again, arms, I have pretty solid triceps, so actually my coach was like, hey, don't do triceps. We actually want that to decrease a little because we want the shoulders to be bigger and the arms to look smaller. Like, obviously you still want to define, but again, just building that shape.
Damn, okay.
Yeah, and so it's so weird because I never would have known any of this stuff or applying it to my body and the different little techniques like that.
Okay. And you said, how much did you do abs?
Oh...
Because people usually do them, like, every day.
No, I did it probably... Ideally, I would have done it twice a week for 15 to 30 minutes. I probably did it maybe a little less than that. But again, abs have always been my strength for me. So I didn't need to spend more time on that. I needed to spend more time on the booty. Okay. Going back to the booty. And the hamstring and the glute tie-in, which is that little area between your hamstrings and your glutes. That's a big deal.
That little, like, divot right there.
That divot. That's a big deal. Okay. So really focusing on all of those exercises that target that area.
And when you trained your abs, you're not doing, like, core movements. You're doing a lot of crunching movements, right? Because you're trying to pronounce those muscles more than you are trying to build, like, a really strong core.
Right. Yeah, I would say yes, but I found for me that dynamic movements show abs for me the best. And so I tried to do dynamic ab movements. So I'm trying to think of examples. Like tuck jumps, like jumping up and tucking.
Really?
Or I'm not sure if you've heard of a reverse burpee, but like things like that where you're like moving your whole body and you're jumping and things like that.
Okay.
And I learned that so I was a cheerleader my whole life. So with gymnastics, lots of dynamic movements. And so I feel like I owe a lot of that to my abs. But also I was on a bike, like a dirt bike my whole life. So like holding the bike up and moving around on top of the bike and engaging my abs. So I feel like a combination of those two is what I tried to implement when I was doing ab work.
And when you and I did an episode with Brian Borstein, we talked a little bit about the crossroads of CrossFit and bodybuilding and how there's a lot of CrossFit movements that could be used to enhance a bodybuilding career, such as muscle snatches, things like that. Did you use any of those pseudo CrossFit movements with your background or no? Yeah,
I did a lot of shoulder presses, so like strict presses. A lot of that.
What about handstand push-ups? I get such a pump from those things.
Yes, I did some handstand push-ups. I'm trying to think what else. Deadlifts, squats, things like that. I didn't want to do too much of the snatch and the clean because that really engages your, why can't I think of what this is called? Your traps. And you don't want traps on stage.
Really?
Yeah. When I first started...
Interesting.
When I first started doing bodybuilding workouts, my coach was like, stop engaging your traps. Like, you need to learn to stop engaging your traps. Yeah, super weird. So I wanted to kind of stay away from those.
Okay.
I did a lot of butterfly pull-ups because I thought that would get my lats and my back and still, dynamic movements with the abs. Yep. So I did a lot of that. So, and I like CrossFit, so I just wanted to apply it. Because I enjoyed it.
Sure. I have friends that are, I had a friend that was a really, pretty high-level CrossFitter, top 50 in the region type, and he did a bodybuilding competition. And when I talked to him about it, because I was considering it at the same time, he said, wait until you no longer want to do CrossFit. And it might just have been his prep or his coach or his experience, but, he was like, when I came back to CrossFit, it was so fucking difficult. Like, for whatever reason, he had just lost so much fitness in the whole prep phase. And has that been your experience, or have you not even gone back?
Oh yeah, no, I went back after my first show and I was like, this is so much harder, because you lose strength because that's not the focus anymore. Right, of course. And you're dieting down, so you're not as big. You can't push around more weight. My cardio was awesome, but as far as the lifting, you're not doing the techniques of the lifting. So yeah, it was super hard coming back. That's for sure.
You have less fat to protect your joints and things like that.
Yep.
That all matters.
All of that, for sure.
Okay, cool. What else? Are we missing anything from the prep process?
Game day.
Oh, okay. So you've done all this work, you wake up, game day.
Yeah, so like I said, you want to wait until to make sure you're ready, and then 2 weeks out kind of sign up for it.
Do they fill up fast though? Like, can you wait 2 weeks?
No, they'll take your money. They'll take your money. They maybe let the last person in 3 days before.
So you have a competition in mind.
Yeah,
you don't want to sign up until you feel like the prep worked and you're ready.
Yeah, there's competitions every month. So if the coach is like,
well,
you're not ready. Here, that's true. That's true. You could travel, I guess, different areas.
Well, we have a lot of listeners in Nebraska for some reason. So
don't know about Nebraska. But if you're not ready, you can push it back.
Okay.
But so yeah, and we'll get into how much all this costs in a little bit, because might be surprised by that too.
Okay.
So yeah, not only do you have to do all of the 3 things we mentioned, like the nutrition, cardio, the posing, the weightlifting, but you got to prep for game day. So you got to get your tanning appointment. Sure. And you got to get bikinis, in which each class requires a different bikini or swimsuit or little tiny panties for the guys.
Okay, but a Speedo, right?
Speedo, yeah, that's what
it's a Speedo.
Yeah, but I don't think you could just go to Walmart and get a Speedo. I think it's got to be pretty...
well, I don't think they sell Speedos. But but you can just go to Amazon and... so I have an American flag Speedo. I can wear that.
They might advise you not to.
If you just bedazzle it, though?
If you put some little sparkles on it.
Yeah, like glitter or...
Hey, you can try it. Let's see how you do. All right. You've got to get a hair appointment, makeup appointment, especially for the girls.
Okay.
Tanning. So, the night before...
Yep. You
go into this little tanning magician, and there's a ton of other people in there. it's like an assembly line.
Okay.
You get naked. It's a free-for-all. You get naked.
Everybody else is in there with you.
Everyone else is in there with you. They try to okay, you're in this station.
Just girls.
No, guys are in there too.
Everybody's naked.
Everyone's naked.
Holy
they
shit.
try
to... Bunch of good-looking humans all naked getting sprayed down.
It's literally the strangest thing.
Okay.
And so I go back to the area where she's spraying, and again...
They let other people in there? Did Erin go in there with you?
No, okay. This girl's doing it in her apartment. She's got it set up, and they tell you it's like an assembly line. So she sprays you down. Yeah. You're spreading your butt cheeks so she can get in there.
The fuck out of here. Okay.
And she's like, all right, bend over. All right.
What?
So now, here's the thing. After she sprays you down, you can't stand back up. So you're kind of bent down at a 45-degree angle. You can't put your arms down because the spray tan's got to dry.
Yep.
So your arms are up. So then you go into station 1 and you hold it there for 10 minutes. And I'm like, this is not what I want to be doing right now.
Oh my God, and everybody else is in there.
They set up little tents, but when you got to go in between the tents, it's whatever.
Yeah, okay.
You're about to be on stage next day and next to nothing.
Yeah.
At this point, you're like, look at me, I worked my ass off.
Yeah, okay.
So that's the first tent, all right? Then you go into the second tent where you just face the other way and you're still holding that position. Bent over, 45-degree angle. Your arms are up. Try not to sweat because you don't want your tan to be ruined.
Right.
So then the third tent, someone comes over and they powder you. Again, you're naked. Powder you in all like the sweaty area and the creases. You put on some loose clothing.
Okay.
You don't go anywhere except home because at this point you're already starting to look a little crazy.
Yeah.
Especially because she doesn't do your face. So your body's like half black and then your face is just normal.
Okay.
Me being a ginger, you can imagine what that looks like.
Sure. Now, you are of ginger descent. If somebody is not, if somebody's darker, do they go through the same stages?
Yes.
Okay.
And actually,
Why?
I asked a black guy at the last competition, like, if he has to get spray tan.
Mm-hmm.
My boyfriend was so embarrassed because he's standing right next to me.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they do. Just to create that, I don't know, the even skin tone. And the whole point of a spray tan is when you're on stage, the lights completely wash you out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everyone knows, like, if you're darker, you look skinnier, and it kind of shows a little more of the definition. And then with the lights washing you out, it just looks a lot better.
Okay.
So, yeah, you go home. You try not to touch anything. Your bed might get a little spray tan on it,
Yeah.
but it is what it is, because the next morning you wake up and you go back and get resprayed.
The whole process again?
Hold up, let me tell you the craziest part.
Okay.
So, the first time I went through this, I was already like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, I bet.
On the way out, she hands me a little cup. All right, and here's your pee cup. I was like, what? So you have to pee in a cup. If you're female,
Why?
you have to pee in the cup. So that way, there's no chance of you, like, be splashing it and getting back on your like legs or anything, or on your booty, or it dripping down your leg, because then it'll wipe the spray tan off. So you got to pee in the cup for the next 24 at least hours.
Whoa. So you literally just have to... Did anyone prepare you for this?
No.
It's good that we're preparing other people for this, because I would
right?
be like, where the fuck? No way. I'm not... What are you doing? You're not doing this. Okay.
I mean, luckily that's why I'm saying you got to know somebody who's in the industry,
Yeah.
or is a coach, because the team I was working with, they prepare you for all that and have a whole little sheet
Gotcha.
and all of that. But,
Okay.
But I think I must have forgotten about that point, because I was like, oh, all right. But anyway, you go back the next morning and you get your final spray tan coat. You get your hair done, your makeup done, which is intense.
Do they have people doing these, or you bring your own person?
They do have like recommended people, but again, the company group I was with, they have one person they recommend who did all of our makeup.
Okay.
Yep. So then you get over there and you get your bikini on, your heels on, and there's not a lot of structure. Like, there's a morning show and a night show. You know the order of the classes, but that's it. So you got to be watching. You got to be ready to go, because about 45 minutes before you go on, you get glazed.
Okay.
So what that is you get glazed up like a donut, and somebody comes on and they're just spraying all this stuff on you and wiping you down so you look super shiny and glazed up like a donut. And then you go backstage where everyone's pumping up, right? So there's no weights allowed backstage, but you've got like bands. I don't know why they don't have weights. I feel
maybe
like
people get hurt, or it seems dumb.
maybe just too much of annoyance with all the weights. I don't know, but
Is it hard to get a pump and not sweat? I mean,
yeah.
because that's weird, right? Because if you sweat, it's going to run streak your stuff.
At this point, it's dry.
Okay.
So a little sweat's fine. So
Okay. So you're doing like curls with bands and...
exactly. Like, I would try to do like 3 sets of 30, 5 sets of 30, especially on the shoulders, on the booty, like the front delts and things like that. But everyone's back there doing the same thing. Okay. And you also have some type of candy or carbs. Okay. So that way it's rushing,
Makes you full, right? Makes your muscles look full.
Exactly.
Because they're probably pretty flat looking at this point.
Exactly. Yeah. And like this time, I forgot to mention in the nutrition part, I did have carb ups to help with that. So, one day every 2 weeks, I'd get thrown a ton of carbs at me to help keep me full, like, and kind of refeed me. Yep. Yeah. Okay. And so, sometimes, I think 2 days before I had a carb up just so I could look a little more full, but that's going to be case by case. Okay. So you're backstage, you're eating gummy bears, you're pumping up. Again, my first show, I was like, what in the world? What am I doing here? This is insane. And then some guy walks by and I'm like, hey, do I know you from somewhere? I'm like, dude, you work with me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and we're
Like a coworker, just bodybuilding on the weekends? Nice.
Yep, and I was like, oh, hey.
Yeah.
So then you go up on stage and kind of like I mentioned, your posing routine.
Yep.
And then you come off and you're, again, just sipping on water, or you have your normal lunch for that week, and then you come back for the finals, and you get your trophy, and then you come off, and they have a cake for you, which is pretty cool.
That's cool.
And then, I mean, at this point, I started at 6 a.m., and it got out of there at 10:30 p.m.
God damn, that's a long day.
So it's a long day. So I would, like, if you have family coming or sig figs coming to support, maybe just come to one show. Made that mistake the first go around.
Having them like sit there all day with you and
all day.
Yeah.
And like the smell of spray tan. Everyone's in like these little outfits, walking around, and you're like, it's pretty ridiculous. But
yeah.
It's a whole other world. But at the same time, you can look around at everyone and be like, I know the effort and dedication that you just put in, and I respect you.
Yeah.
So everyone's like, at this point is on like, when you're backstage, there's no like, ooh, I'm gonna beat that girl or anything like that. Like everyone's like, dude, nice work. Like you look awesome. Because even if like placing, obviously you want to do the best, but even without that, like think about what you just accomplished, and you're probably in the best aesthetic shape that you've ever been in. That
which has to be enough.
You're so proud of that. You're so excited about that, and sharing that with other people is, I would say, almost more rewarding than actually like how you're placing.
Yeah.
But again, competition's competition too.
Sure. So then right when it's over, you eat your cake, and then, we just had Danny Reardon on, who's an Olympia competitor. She took second in the Olympia last year, sixth
The little
this
monster?
year. Yeah.
Yeah, but started following her.
Yeah,
like, this girl's badass.
Yeah, she's super awesome. So she said after stages, one of her weaknesses has been just like eating everything in sight. But you have there's a way to do it correctly, right?
Yes. Okay. So, the first 24 hours, I give myself some leeway because, like, look what I just did. Like, we went to Denny's because that was the only thing open. Had my cookies and all of that. But reverse dieting afterwards is so important, which coaches told me that my first go around. And I'm like, yeah, sure. And so after first competition, I just kind of did whatever I wanted, right? I would put myself in that 4 to 5 category that we talked about earlier, where wasn't tracking anything at all. Like maybe had some structure, but lots of food one day, not enough food the other day, like being super inconsistent. And then I started, I had other priorities, like work was more of my focus, so wasn't probably training enough, and cardio definitely wasn't doing that enough. And so the next go around, I could tell it was a lot harder to get back to where I wanted to be. Okay. Because I hadn't reversed diet. So this go around, made sure I did it. So what you do is, it's kind of like, you're like, oh yes, I'm done. I'm off that super strict diet. And then starting at least by Tuesday, you're right back on it. And maybe not as strict as the last week, but you're still tracking, your macros or whatever food that you were consistently eating before and the amounts. You're still doing the cardio, and then you slowly each week increase more food and decrease the cardio. The main thing is being consistent. Okay. Yeah, being consistent with it, and actually... and
that'll keep you just from, like, piling on a bunch of shitty weight.
Exactly, because think about it, your body has been, you're cutting, and so if you give your body a bunch of food and just keep throwing it at it where it's not used to processing that much, or it's just going to hold on to it and be like, oh, yes, I don't know if you're going to restrict me again. Yeah. So it's doing it in a steady, slow way. Yep.
So that would actually be good, probably advice for anybody, because I cut down for a powerlifting competition, and I cut down like a lot, and I basically did a crash diet because I only had 2 weeks to get there. And I went from like 216 to 198 in 2 weeks, but I actually was okay. Like I weighed in, and then I ate a huge burrito, and then my numbers were pretty good. Like I hit really close to maximum, but I had jumped right back up to like 220 within like a week or so, because I was like, oh fuck it, I'm done, and I just started eating. So that might even be a really good move for anybody that cuts weight in any fashion or respect, right?
Oh, for sure. Not only in that, but I have a lot of just lifestyle nutrition clients where they're just not eating enough. It could be just eating junk and not enough solid food, and still they're just not eating enough in total. And so I've got to work with them and reverse diet them up, so that way their body's used to getting more and more and more food over weeks, and then we can start decreasing or, adding in maybe some cardio or something like that, so their body can actually let go of what it's put on, because it knows that it's not going to be restricted, it's going to be getting enough nutrients in. So that goes for, anything.
Okay, cool. So reverse diet.
Reverse diet is huge. And then once you also want to build yourself up to a certain amount of calories, because then you'll go into improvement season or off season if you do want to do another one, or you're just like, okay, now I know how to do this, like, let's dial in a little more. So, like, for me right now, like, I know I still need to define my shoulders more, in the booty, in the legs, like, different areas, like hamstrings, stuff like that. So I'm lifting heavier and I'm eating more, so that way I can make it all go to the right places.
Right. Yeah.
So that's kind of the next step is, what do you want to do next? How can you improve from that last show?
Yeah. Kind
of map out what your training's going to look like to get you there.
Okay.
And some people call it off season. I like the idea of improvement season. But you still, you want to be consistent, so that way when you
it's a good mental distinction, because if you're talking about off season, you're talking about eating some bullshit. If you're talking about improvement season, you're like, okay, what do I need to be eating to improve? That's actually a really good idea.
Yep.
I like that.
Yep. And, kind of going back to those 5 levels of nutrition, yes, I dropped myself down a level, so I'm not measuring out everything, but I still, I know what I need to eat. I know I need this certain amount of protein or this certain amount of carbs. I know I need to stack it, around my workout if I want to get the benefit and grow how I want to grow and where.
Is that a Jenny Blake original, improvement season?
Improvement season. It's not. I think some girls at the gym I was going to, someone said it and I was like, I love that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Cool. All right. So heading into improvement season. Right now, you're in improvement season. Are you going to do another show, or are you going to do something else?
So, yes, I want to do another show. But as we just talked about, this is 3 months of very, committed time period.
Yep.
So, vacations, you don't want to be on prep during a vacation. I have good friends' weddings that are coming up. You don't want to be on prep during your best friend's wedding. Mm-hmm. So, you got to find that right timing, and that's what I'm looking for next year. Okay. And then also I want enough time so I can make improvements, because now that I've done 2 shows, I've got an idea of how it all works. I think I improved from my last show, but now I'm like, okay, now I want to really improve, and I want to really bring a good package to the stage. So I want to make sure I'm improving. I want to make sure there's a good time frame when I can do it next year. Mm-hmm. And then we'll go from there. And I'm building a business. I'm working more than full time, and then training on top of this. It's a lot. So I've got to make sure I can prioritize it when I do go into it.
The last aspect that I wanted to touch on, because I think this is something that I would have a hard time with, is the psychological aspect. Mm-hmm. So you put all of your work and dedication, and I've talked about this on multiple shows, but it's good to hear from someone that's really been in the trenches. You put all of your work and dedication into looking good on stage, and then you get on stage. Did it feel subjective?
I love this question, because if you look at it from an outsider, it's subjective, right? You're going up there and they're judging you. Oh, I like shoulders better. I like, booty better or whatever. I would say in general, you can tell who, you can tell.
Yep.
It comes down to those, those close, like, oh, they look very similar, but this, but that type. So some of it is subjective, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. But to me, I don't look in the mirror and say, oh my gosh, my abs aren't tight enough, or oh my gosh, I'm not good enough, this isn't right. To me, it's more of this is fun. I get to control how my body shapes. Yeah. And I enjoy training. I love being at the gym. I love that endorphin high. I love challenging myself when it comes to the nutrition. Oh, you don't think I can be this strict? Yes, I can, and I'm gonna do great at it.
Right.
That's just how my mindset is, and I'm not doing it from a place of I'm not good enough, I need to look better. I'm coming from a place of I love this shit and I have control of it, and this is what I enjoy doing, and I get the benefits of looking better too. Right. But coming anybody else might have the same feeling too, where it's I could stop doing the competition and I feel I look fine. It's not. Yes, you look better, but that's not what it's all about. I love the posing part of it. I love being on stage. For me, it's a place where I can compete, and I like to compete, that I can really get into it.
Sure.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. Anything else we missed about the process?
Oh, man. I don't know. We talked... Oh, the cost.
Oh, yeah. How much? How much do you pay for all this?
Oh, boy. All right, so think about it.
You're not good enough.
You've got the... And I want to come back to that, too, because so many people joke on this whole industry. And I get it. Like, again, from an outsider perspective, it's, oh, you're just going up there so they can judge you by the way you look.
Right.
But at the same time, like, you're putting so much work and so much dedication into it that it's more of like, you gotta respect the people that are doing it. Like, I don't know, like, I've heard people say that, oh, it's like a joke, or, oh, I hate that, it's stupid. It's like, all right, try to do it. Like, let's see how far you get with the nutrition and you're on top of it and stuff like that. And I mean, I think it definitely, anybody can do it, but it's just going to take a lot of like mental strength and stuff like that. So yeah, like people can say it's subjective, it's this and that. I mean, there's going to be pros and cons about any sport, like CrossFit, like people have this like, of course, you know, pros and cons about that, but it's like, I don't know, you have to have respect for the people that do it. For sure.
And I think at the end of the day, if you like doing it, you like the result, if you think that you gave the best that you could have, that's all that you could ask for. Right? And you have to be happy with that. And if you derive enjoyment from it, then who the hell is anybody else to tell you anything different, you know?
Oh, for sure.
So how much do you pay for all this?
All right. So we've got the training costs. Yeah. We've got I did that for like 3 months. Got the nutrition costs for another 3 months.
But you're going to eat anyway. I mean, is it more expensive?
No, I'm paying for a coach.
Oh, okay. A nutritionist. Okay.
Yeah, I actually probably decreased what I was actually spending on food because I was so dialed in and I wasn't eating out or drinking and stuff like that.
Sure.
But, I mean, that's minimal.
Coach, though. Okay.
Coach, sign up for the competition, which, of course, you've got to get your annual card and you've got to get your your registration. I did 2 classes, so that was around $500 there.
So it's like $250 per
comp? $150 per comp, and then another $150 for the annual fee.
Okay, so that's pretty standard to like a marathon or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I mean, training, nutritionist, like I think it's like $250 a month. Mm-hmm. The training like $250 a month. Jeez. And then you've got the tanning, which is another $100. Makeup, another
$100 per round. Or total.
And then the makeup, which was $80. Oh man, I feel like I'm missing stuff.
Well, what about the bikini or whatever?
Oh, yes. Bikinis are freaking expensive. Yeah. They're all bedazzled, and you can buy one, but I definitely suggest either renting one from somebody who's at your, in your gym network or coach's network, which is what I did. Or you can rent them from official places. So they were $150, around $150.
To rent?
Yeah, to rent. The actual suits can be anywhere from $500 to $2,000. People spend on these.
Damn
bedazzled, little, tiny.
I'm gonna bedazzle my own. Keep going. Okay.
And I feel like I'm forgetting something. But I mean, all of that is close to $2,000 to $3,000. You're looking at.
I didn't add up, but I feel like $1,000 is what I got.
$500 just for registering.
Yeah. Oh, okay. You said $250 each for training and nutrition. So
yeah,
that's
per month. Per month.
Oh, and you did it for 3, 6.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
God damn. So you are like so that's like $1,000, $3,000.
$1,400 with nutrition and training, plus the $500, so we're up to $2,000, plus you got to get pictures too. You got to get the official stage pictures. That's another $100
that you buy from the competition.
Right.
Okay, and then also what you did, and I think a lot of people do, is they kind of book a photo shoot because you're in the best shape of your life, aesthetics wise. So a lot of people like to capture that when they're not all spray tan and stuff. Yeah. So the weekend before I did a photo shoot, so that can range from $500 to $1,000, however, God. So but again, so what I said earlier is people only do these a couple times a year because of those reasons. Well, because of cost, but then also because of how much time it takes to do this. Yeah. And again, it's not something you just want to sign up for and wing. Right. Like, you just can't really do that like you can, like I have with a lot of other things. Yeah. Well, and for that cost commitment, exactly, that requires that you put in the time and the work. And that's actually a good thing about having a barrier to entry high like that. I paid, just to register for that 200 miler, I paid $1,000. Oh, wow. So the whole trip was like $3,000 or more. I was not going to blow that off, you know? So exactly. Yeah. And I think setting a date
that totally, we talked about mindset,
Yeah.
that switches your mind. Like, oh, I've got this date. Like, anytime you have that moment of weakness, you got that date, or you visualize yourself on stage or, during that time, and it helps so much.
Nice.
Because I know a lot of people, and I was this way too, where I was like, oh, I just want to do everything, but I just don't want to compete.
Yeah.
But I mean, having that actual
Yeah,
day just
it
takes
forces
it to the
a
next
level of commitment. Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
and I didn't realize how much I would like the posing and the stage time.
You just stay out there. They're like, get off stage. You're done here.
Come on,
no,
move
no,
on.
no.
Excuse
Okay.
me, judge on the left is not looking at me.
Okay. Awesome. That's good. I think for anybody that is listening to this, say I didn't know. I thought I knew, and I knew nothing. So it was actually really informative for me as well. So hopefully people that are considering, trying this out as an endeavor got a lot of info and have a good place to start. And then, people that are going to stick with CrossFit or with powerlifting, there's a lot of, I think, nuggets in here that you could apply, which is always my favorite part of the active lifestyle in general, is all the different crossover applications that you get from one modality to the other.
Oh, for sure. I mean, muscle engagement,
Everything.
all of this stuff, and vice versa. There's stuff that I could take from CrossFit that I could apply while I was training
For sure.
this show too. So, yeah,
Perfect. Well, thanks for being on and sharing your journey with us.
of course.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Okay, perfect. And in the spirit of Lionheart Radio, the way that we do every show is we end with a Lionheart kicker. And the kicker is based on advice. So obviously in this scenario, we'll apply it to what we've been talking about in the prep process and stepping on stage. So if you could give advice, and it would guarantee that every single person that wanted to step on stage would hear it, and it would be translated into every language, what would you tell people?
Okay, this is if you want to step on stage, but it can definitely be taken broader than that. Just because you are born a certain way, you're in a certain situation, or you have certain genetics, is not who you are for the rest of your life. So you talked about earlier someone being a hard gainer. Mm-hmm. Someone told me once that, oh, you're a hard gainer, a coach said. And I'm like, okay, maybe I am. Right. Maybe I'm not. That doesn't matter. I'm going to figure out how to get where I want to be. Mm-hmm. I'll research maybe a different path than other people have to take,
right.
But I'm going to get there. And that can be applied to, public speaking.
Yeah.
You know that English is not my thing.
Right.
In second grade, my parents tried to put me on speech therapy.
Yeah.
Right? But I'm like, I want to be a good public speaker. All right, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to do some research. I'm in clubs now. I'm in Toastmaster. I won Best Speaker in Toastmaster last week.
Fucking sweet.
Yeah. And now I'm doing podcasts. Like, okay, I'll be a good public speaker if I want to be a public speaker. This can be applied to anything. Like, whether you want to, I'm just not athletic, or I'm just not, I don't have the body type to be a figure or whatever competitor. You can do it, yeah. Right. Just because you have bigger arms or whatever it may be, you can figure out a way to get however you want to get, whatever vision you have. And it could be as big as owning a business, or as small as I want to be funny, right? I want to be the funny person in my group. I don't want to be a big comedian, but in my friends, I want to be funny. Okay. Research some things, study some things, trial and error, figure it out, enjoy the process while you're doing it. Whatever it is you want to do, or you have this vision that you maybe think you're not because of you're not privy to that, or you weren't born that, or genetics, disagree.
Right.
You can do whatever it is, and it's so much more than just you can be whatever you want to be. It's down to the details.
Right.
You can be literally whatever you vision, whatever character you want to be, whatever characteristics you want to have, whatever body type, anything like that. You just got to do it. Yeah,
I think the distinction that people make is, when people say I'm a hard gainer, that might be true, but hard, people automatically say that. And I think even though they say hard gainer, what they think is it's impossible for me to gain weight.
It's an instant mental block.
Right. It's hard for me to lose weight. And what they think is it's impossible I'm going to have to look the way I look. And that's actually a really good distinction, and something that you brought up, because I think just knowing that in your mind is hard just means you have to figure out a new fucking way around, right?
Oh, yeah. Could be a different path than everybody else.
Yeah.
But, no, I feel strongly about this, and it's just becoming more shining more in me, especially this last like couple years, and I almost like it now when someone tells me something negative, and I'm like, oh really? Yeah. Oh, watch me go. Yeah. Watch me do this.
Watch what the fuck I do next.
Yeah.
Me too.
And it's going to be even more impressive because I'm not doing it this normal path, or I'm figuring out new ways. Like,
yeah.
I believe everyone can be like that. This isn't just me. Like, I wasn't always like that. I've grown into this, and everyone can do it.
Everyone can do it. The big thing is that it does take a certain mindset, and so like having that limited belief system about yourself and the way that you show up in the world is probably the hardest thing to overcome, because although it's possible, it still takes a mindset that requires it. You know, the amount of people that tell me like, I do not have a runner's body. When I show up to ultra marathons, people are like, dude, you look, even the last one, like I was on mile like 170 and the guy's like, you're big for this. I'm like, that's what they say. Like,
Heard that
here I am at mile 170, just like you are, the same fucking build. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, that's, but just, you know, drawing light to the fact that it really is about your mindset as you approach what's hard, more than it is, you know, anything else.
Definitely.
Cool. I think that's a good kicker. Good place to end.
For sure.
All right. Awesome. Thanks.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks for listening to Lionheart Radio. I hope that the information from today's show will make you fitter, happier, and healthier. For the show notes of this episode and every episode, head to www.lionheartrad.io. Yep, just like Lionheart Radio. And please, if you have the time, head over to iTunes and give us a 5-star rating. It really helps us to know that we're on the right track in delivering you reliable information and value. As always, feedback is welcomed. If you have any comments on the show or would like to suggest a guest, send me an email at rick@luavive.com. That's LUAVIVE.com. Thanks for your support, and we will see you next time.
Bitch, I feel good. Don't I look stupendous? My shine is so endless, and shit you can do to end this. Even when I'm dead, niggas still gon' bump that chip shit. Coke, white, Escalade on cinches for you dipshit. So you won't forget this. Midwest nigga be the coldest. Cleveland is